please join me in standing for the pledge and a brief moment of silence after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item is the approval of the agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
I so move. We approve the agenda.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved. Are you ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We move on to the approval of the January minutes. I'll give you a second to look at those. The chair will entertain a motion.
Ms. Jordan, I'd like to make a request on the minutes. And I did something similar in the Personnel Committee meeting as well. This would be on the second page, the back of the first page. At the bottom, the very last paragraph. Personnel Committee Chair James Morgan reported that the director's evaluation results showed scores and they exceeds expectation range, that part there. I'd like to include, if the board's okay with it, I'd like to include my mention that we were contractually required to provide a 3 to 6% raise. And I've got a statement there that I can do as well, I can share as well. And then also that last sentence, it says, based on these scores, positive feedback, comments, and discussion with the director, the committee recommended a 3% salary increase. And that all that stuff might be true, but I don't remember saying any of that, and I don't remember anybody else saying that. So I'm going to make a motion to scratch that first part of that last sentence, all the way, everything before the comma, and replace or put this before that last sentence. He also reported that the board is contractually required to provide a 3 to 6% annual salary increase for the director. So I'm going to make a motion to do that.
And to delete which parts again, please?
Basically, on that page, on that last sentence, everything before the first comma. Again, not that nobody agrees with that, it's just I don't believe any of that was said during the meeting. And I think the minutes should record what was actually said.
So are we keeping Ms. Arrington's motion to accept the committee's recommendation, second by Ms. Hobbs? Are we keeping that?
Yes, ma'am. This is just take out that one phrase and add what I just said, and I'll read it again. He also reported that the board is contractually required to provide a 3 to 6% annual salary increase for the director, period. So that just, like I said in the meeting, it just makes record that we didn't just out of nowhere decide to do a raise, it was required.
And you said you'll provide a written copy for the
Yes, ma'am.
recording.
I have it right here.
Thank you.
If the board's okay with the change.
The chair will entertain a motion to accept those minutes with the corrections, if it is your pleasure.
I've got the motion on it, so we just need a second.
Any discussion? Any questions? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And we move on to item number 5, which is public comments. Any members of the public with us who wish to comment? Seeing none, we move on to item number 6, our financial report. Ms. Dubrow.
And at this time, I would like us to present the auditor's findings before I do the new year stuff, since this shows our end of year for 2023.
I've reached a point in my career where it's sort of my responsibility to nurture the next generation of leadership for our firm that will take care of our clients. So I hear some of my peers saying that, you know, this generation coming up now doesn't want to work, and they don't want to learn anything. Maybe I've just been lucky, but that's not my experience with it. So I'm going to introduce you to Precious Goins, who did most of the work on this audit, and she wrote the report, so she'll hit the highlights of the content. Just see them better right here.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Ms. Goins.
Hi. As Mr. Lee said, I'm Precious Goins. I had the pleasure of doing the library's audit this year. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. So we opinion that it was favorable. There was no findings, nothing meaningful that the board needs to go over or change. As far as the financials, everything lined up with whatever reports that the staff gave us during our field work. During the year, y'all had strong financials starting from the beginning to the end of the year, which is always great. And I just want to extend a congratulations to everybody, especially Ms. Stacy and her team. It takes teamwork and a lot of coordination to have a good audit report, and hopefully next year it's the same. And I have questions or anything. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and I just want to point out to the board, if anything comes up during the year, if any of you ever have any questions or concern, you know, feel free to call us whenever. You know, an audit's not necessarily a year-end process. You know, well, we can be available to you whenever it's necessary. And I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to do the work.
Thank you, Mr. Willis.
And I thank you for being available because I can reach out to you often.
Hearing no further questions, the chair will I'm sorry, I thought I heard someone say something. No, okay. Hearing no further questions, the chair will entertain a motion to accept Ms. Dubroc's report with the auditor's presentation. If it is your pleasure.
I so move.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept this financial report and the auditor's presentation. Are you ready for the question? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To your collection.
Thank you. I have a nice handy spot for it.
And just as an aside, I would like to let the board know that Ms. Dubrow shared with the financial committee that it took her 1/3 of the amount of time, I think I'm correct, to do this year's report for the auditor as it did last year. So we learn, we live, and we learn.
And we adjust.
And we adjust. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the director's report. Ms. Reach Harper, you have the floor.
Actually, pardon me, but I believe that Ms. Dubrow has some remaining financial reports.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I sent out the 3 reports for our December final. If you will look, I added the column for the audit adjustments so that you can see exactly what he asked me to shift based on when we received it and when we paid it and such. And this coincides with the audit report that he has given out to y'all. So all the information that's in the final for December matches up to the audit report that you just received in a, mine's more condensed than his is. Just one other little thing on the audit that she didn't mention. The one thing that we found that is new this year is we have to maintain a report on our sexual harassment trainings and findings in an actual report to be submitted if it's ever asked by the state. So as of this year, we have done our completion and we will continue to track these reports and have them available moving forward. That was the only minor little thing that they asked of us that we did not have because it was so new. So our December is matching, so good audit report. And we will move on to January and February. And I did give those to y'all. Right now, we did pay the principal on our loan, which is the last of the loan. Yay. That would be line, where's my line? Principal, there we go, 4159. And if you'll notice, it has a negative 3887 because when they asked for it, they didn't separate out the interest. And if you look at the next line, the interest is the exact opposite of it. So I will make that adjustment to correct which line it belongs to. But we're actually on point of how much we were left to pay out. So that was the last of those loans, and moving forward, we will have that money to set aside for any new projects that we have moving forward. 4160 was insurance. You'll notice an $1,800 decrease. We actually received a refund for them for an overpayment as they reevaluated some of our insurance costs. And they said, oh, we charged you too much, here's your money back. So we actually end up with a little less expense than we were expecting in that regard. And then the last one was the new account, number 5577, which is where we separated out the monies for the event and the creation of our Heritage Center that we have at King. And that was all for the most recent stuff. That was on February, I was reading from.
What was that number again, please?
5577.
Okay.
And as all the credit card charges and stuff come in March, you'll see that increase just a little bit more. The only other one I would point out is a reminder that we are still under contract for that Boyce building for the old location. And as per our contract, we were required to do a small increase. So you will see a little bit of an adjustment there. And 4211, which is our repairs of the buildings, we did have to go in and make repairs on the annex roof due to some leakage. And you'll see the cost of that under 4211. It was about 15 that we spent for that month. And we are looking at trying to repair and maintain our buildings to the best of our ability, so you will see some more building maintenance coming due this year. Those are my high points. Does anybody have any questions?
Remind me again, how long that lease is in board?
We have through the next year, 2025, at the end, December, we will be out from under it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question.
Once we're out from under it, we will have less of rent, we will have less utility payments, and we will have less on the insurance because we will no longer have to cover it.
So we are released from our responsibilities completely then, okay.
At the end of the contract, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I've made multiple attempts, as you know, that was a contract that was created prior to my time here. And I've made multiple attempts to speak with the property owner once we had the other building complete, but they do not wish to proceed with that. So we are contractually obligated.
Are there any other questions? Do we need to move to accept this part since I jumped ahead? Sorry about that. The chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the financial report.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the full financial report. Are you ready for the question? All in favor? Any opposed?
Was a good job for Stacy and her work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. The motion carries. Okay, now we're going to move on to Ms. Reach Harper's report.
Yes, ma'am. As you'll see, I have a double-sided written report this time. It's a little more lengthy than normal, and it's lengthier for a good reason. There are several positive things that I get to report. As what has already been mentioned, and I'm sure most of you are already aware, we did have the opening of the Central Louisiana African American Culture and Heritage Center at our King branch. That was made possible by our own Mr. Morris Taft Thomas for bringing in portraits from 6 lauded artists and providing some direction and assistance with that project. We were able to get that done. I named the various members of our committee who helped to make it possible. The day was festive and celebratory, and I think everyone had an excellent time. I really appreciate the efforts that folks put forth, particularly those members of the committee who are listed here. Ms. Mouton, Ms. Buller, Ms. Simmons, of course, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Hinton, and then of course Ms. Johnson, who's a local artist who also provided some assistance. They made it possible. We had over 400 attendees that day. And the part that I'm most happy about is since the opening day, we have seen a steady stream of visitors who have come to view the portraits and to see the items in the cases and to ask questions. In fact, I had to make a special request from the gentleman who puts out the Sin-Law Focus that all of the extra February copies that they had returned, if they could be bundled for us and so that we could have them there, because we had a very nice write-up in there that had descriptors, because we had already given out all of our booklets, and before we could get additional booklets, we wanted to have something else. So those were delivered to King actually earlier today. So it was very well received by the community, and it's going to be an ongoing project with some additional supplemental information, and we're going to continue to grow it as we're able. We also had a refreshment of our story stroll outside of the branch that went over very well, and I've seen multiple children and families out there utilizing that as well, so that was very nice to see. And I believe, and Mr. Thomas, please correct me if I'm incorrect, but it will be featured on Art Rocks on LPB on March 29th at, I want to say 7:30 p.m. Is that 8:30 p.m.?
and the following day, at Saturday, at 5:30 p.m. This is going to be an ongoing, and you did mention to me that this could be nationwide.
Excellent, that's wonderful.
Could be nationwide.
Yes, sir.
And also from Diamond Head, Mississippi, I talked with the editor there that I've been knowing for a number of years. Theirs has already been telecast, but they're going to send us some lights that we can pass out to the community.
That's wonderful.
They're gonna send us some what?
They're going to send us some copies. They already had theirs. They've shown theirs already.
Oh, of their
Yes.
video?
Yeah, they were here. Yeah,
Yes, they were here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. It was very well covered. LPB and several different news agencies, I believe someone from the Army Times was also here.
Houston and Dallas.
Yes, sir.
It was awesome.
It was very well covered.
Great job to everybody. I'm serious, great job. It was awesome.
They put in a lot of work to make it happen. And as I said, Mr. Thomas was the driving force behind it. And Ms. Mouton, Ms. Hinton, they put feet to the work, and as did Ms. Simmons and Ms. Fuller. So it was a community effort, and I think it went over well. So very happy and very pleased about that. In continuing good news, we had the Louisiana Library Association Annual Conference last week, and I'm very happy to report that during that conference, our own Miss Gail Goldberg, who is the branch manager out at Glenmora at McDonald Branch, she had an award for support staff that was named in her honor, and she received the inaugural award. So, she's been in library service for over 30 years, and she has been a member of the Support Staff Association there with LLA for over 20 years. So it was well deserved. She's put in lots of hours, and she's also a community volunteer. She is still coaching local ball teams and is very actively engaged. Yeah, she has lots of energy. But she's just made a huge impact on the next generations of library workers and library staff members. And we are planning to have a community reception for her in the coming weeks, and I'll send you all an invitation once those invitations are released. So that was very nice. And then we are continuing with our partnerships. Our ongoing partnership with FCC Pollock, I'm still going out there and providing some educational support as part of the Community Relations Board. They have people from all the surrounding parishes who go out and provide just feedback and those kinds of things, but they've also asked me if I would assist them with library services. Historically, our ILL department, led by Angela Lee, has provided the ILL request items where they're able to for people who are currently incarcerated, educational materials, things of that sort. So this is just another facet of that. I will go out there, and I've thus far provided job interviewing skills practice, where individuals who are working towards release have completed classes, and then they will go in and they will do these mock interviews, and I've been an interviewee for that. I've also completed an activity that I found out afterwards that I was the reward for completing a certain number of classes, 100 classes. I'm okay. Doing an art project with me doesn't seem that fun. I mean, you can ask any of the kids at RPL, but okay. But it was a really nice experience, and we did some watercolor work and shape poetry. So that went over very well with the people there. I now have an iPad that has access to the security cameras at branches, and that is in an effort to, if we have an emergency situation, closures, things like that for weather, and there's a situation where an alarm goes off, I can remote in and see what's going on, rather than having someone walk in blind. Because there's been several worrisome instances. Nothing came of it, everything was fine, but this was just an added security measure that was offered by our security provider, so we went ahead and took them up on that. Back to the roof mentions that Stacy had made. Our roofs at Labuse and West Side, they had recurrent leaks. the origin of which we had difficulty discerning, but it ended up, after having several instances of us trying to get repair persons up to look at them, it ended up that those were issues caused by the manner in which they were fastened, and it created divots that allowed water to pool and then drip. So that has been remedied for at least the short term, but we will be looking in the future to replace some roofing at several locations, and certainly at HDH, because we've also now looked at and gotten some numbers after I submitted this regarding the need for the replacement of the roof at HDH, a section of it at least. So we have many different large and small scale infrastructure things that we're going to be tackling in the coming years. This is not all going to be taken care of at once, but I will be asking to meet with the Long Range Planning Committee probably in the summer, so that we can look at the planning of addressing all of the various issues, large and small, that I see will be needing attention in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's something we're working on. And then the new juvenile cards with the 3 access options became available at our branches on March 1. Branch staff are reporting that the adults are completing the needed paperwork, getting the children the new cards. That seems to be going very smoothly. The community is going to be receiving reminders via our PR, and we're going to be looking to prepare everyone before summer reading to have those cards in place by June 1, because we will have all of the juvenile cards will be expiring on June 1 if they are not updated. All right, and then I think I skipped this. I did 2 presentations at LLA. One was in partnership with a library staff member from LSU, and we talked about how to properly plan staff days and professional development. And the other was a panel on the experience of being a new director and how to best prepare yourself for the role. Also, the things that you'll need to pay attention to, library governance, how to access different resources through the state library, things of that nature. So, any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Harper.
Thank you.
Ms. Mouton, would you present your direct services report, please?
Good afternoon. I don't have a direct report. I do just like to say that we are in the process of hiring for the summer. And thank you all for your overwhelming emails about what you wanted me to say. But I made a decision. We're starting for the next board meeting. We'll just feature a branch and give you some history about that branch and the manager and what's going on in that community. But if anytime you want more information, by all means, just give me a call or drop me an email, let me know. But, and in addition to Celeste already talking about the King branch and the American African Heritage Center, in addition to that, we have had such an increase of patrons, not just, again, for the center, but also for the idea of just the use of the library. So we're grateful for that. So we're looking for that type of event to be at all of our locations for just increased awareness and the traffic for locations and for communities. So any questions for me?
No, but may I interject something? And
You
I don't know.
certainly can.
I don't know if this. I think she might be being modest, but Ms. Mouton has also been spearheading a project to do spring cleaning at all of the branches. So she and the facilities team have organized it with the branch workers, and they are getting a thorough spring cleaning at each of the branches to make them even more welcoming. And they're doing
I
a
make
great
my
job.
presence known. I'm not doing it.
She goes in and puts in effort. Yes, they are doing a great job in making the branches nice and clean and more welcoming.
When we put our names on the list. When we put our names on the list.
Can you put your name on
Yeah.
it? Yes, our
spring
next
cleaning
location will be,
No, she wasn't looking to volunteer. I think she was wanting you to go to her home.
on the list.
Come on.
On the list.
Thank you, Ms. Mouton. Ms. Brown, you have a human resources report for us.
All right, the only thing that I have, we are trying to ratify 2 amazing clerks that we brought on, and these gentlemen have been very viable in our branches. So the first one is Mr. Michael Snow and Mr. River Byrne, and we want to ratify them.
Yes.
I believe we have to have a motion on each individual. Where is Mr. Snow? Is he, I know he's floating, but
Right now, he's at LaBoose branch.
Yes, he's been stationed at LaBouse for the last month or 2.
okay,
And Mr. River is at our King branch.
okay.
And he's awesome. Really. I could just sit with him all day. He's just really good. He was so good about explaining everything, and we love the portraits, so it was great.
All
And
right.
Mr. River was actually the one who was responsible for setting up the new slides for the story walk. That was his creation, the new
Wow.
slides. He conferred with Ms. Hinton, and he did all of the formatting for them.
That is so cool, too.
I don't think, is there a story walk at any other branch?
Yes.
We,
We have them out at Glenmora, yeah, at McDonald. And I believe that we had discussed potentially seeing about getting one out at Boyce, but that has not happened yet.
they are fabulous. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to ratify Mr. Snow's position, Mr. Snow in that position.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we ratify Mr. Michael Snow in his position. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, we move on. The motion carries. We move on to Mr. River, is it Byrne? Byrne? The chair will entertain a motion for the ratification of Mr. Byrne in his
So moved.
position.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Kirby, would you update us on programming and outreach, please?
Sure, it's a busy time in programming. Right now we have all the kind of regular things, book club, story times happening. One of my favorite programs we just had recently at King was the Photos with Pets. If y'all have never seen that, we set up a backdrop and you can bring your pet, your well-behaved pet, and Tara will take a picture with you and your pet. And so she gets down on the ground. I mean, she's had dogs and cats, bunnies, lizards. I think she had a goat once. Like, she's had so many things come, but it's really fun. And then you get your photos. So she just did that. The teams right now are cupcake decorating. I think it's actually happening right now in Heinston. And I always love the Artist of the Month. Karen partners with different people, and this month it's the Sinlaw Quilters Guild. And so you'll see quilts from the guild on display. They've always been big supporters. They meet at our libraries and do their work. But so I love that they got to be the artist this month. I think that's exciting. Excuse me. This is what I refer to as community event season. Everyone's having a community event, and it's a great time for us because we're starting to promote summer reading. And so just this past weekend on Saturday, we had 2 different events. We were at Sinlaw Kids Fest out at Franco Hunter Park with the Junior League, and we were at Healthy U at the zoo with the Ag Center. And I was worried because they were the same crowd, but they were both well attended. I always worry when there's 2 events for the same, audience at the same time, but those were both really well attended. Coming up just in the near future, we have this Thursday, there's a community fair at Ash. There is this weekend a youth symposium at Bolton Community Center with Sigma Gamma Rho, which that's always a fun one every year. And I like that one because we do get kids, but we get more teens at that event, and that is rare. So I love that event because they get teens there. And they'll have speakers and they'll give out prizes and food. It's a lot of fun. We partnered with the school board for a reading initiative. They used our software Beanstack, what we used for some reading. And all the schools were logging their minutes, and whichever school won got a prize. And so we found out that Peabody Montessori was the top reading school, so their prize will be next Wednesday. And so they will get the Red River ice cream truck, but we're actually going to go present them something. I'm bringing some of the costume characters, Pete the Cat and SpongeBob and all those, so we're going to really make it a celebration. I will say, Mary Helen Downey, she's the community coordinator for the schools, she said, this has been a challenging year school board-wise, and she really felt like partnering with the library has been a high point for them. So we're so excited to continue to partner with them. There's been, over my years, there's been ups and downs of partnering with the school board, but I feel like this is the best relationship we've had. So I'm super excited, and I hope it continues. More things coming up. The city of Alexandria is having a grand reopening for their Boys and Girls Club. We'll be there for that. Coming up, we'll have Earth Day at the zoo, the Fostering Communities 5K. We'll have Riverfest once we get into May. So it is community season. So the pod is always doing all of our programs, but the pod is out and about on the weekends and evenings right now. Really go. And every event we go to, we'll bring we'll always bring event guides. We'll bring student resources, all the different things, and we get so many questions at those events. I feel like those are some of our best times to reach people that we don't normally reach. The people who come here know us, but I can't count. Every event I go to, we get someone who had no clue there were 10 locations, no clue that one card worked for all of them. They didn't know we had computer access. Just things that we take for granted that everyone knows the library has, people still don't. So those community events are the best way for us to do that, and we are out there always. So. Yeah, any questions about programming or outreach?
I do have one.
Yeah.
Will y'all be trying to get some of the parents to sign the cards?
We won't sign up for cards at the event. We used to do that. We had a form that they could fill out and mail it, but with the new laws, we have to have people come in-house to witness them. We can witness them signing the cards, but we have struggled to get in the system, because what we often get is people sign up for a card and we're like, you already had one. And so it's they have to kind of work behind the scenes on that. So for now, we're not doing those, but we are working on ways to possibly get a scanner and get out in the coming months to be able to get those cards out at events. Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you, Ms. Kirby. The next item is the IT report, but I don't see Ms. Cheney.
Ms. Primo is ill, unfortunately, but I am here as her emissary. She asked that I just share with you the information regarding the new print software that we have. Envisionware has now rolled out a more simplistic print from your phone called Princh, or phone or laptop. It's on the flyer that you all have in your packet. And the major change is that there's now a code that will be set up for each branch and people to ensure that you're sending it to the correct printer, which has been a bit of a battle in the past. Also, you can send it directly from either your laptop, your phone, or your tablet. So that's a new update that we're going to have at all of our branches. Is there any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Ms. Buller is here with us today, and I believe she has a public relations report.
Hello. I just wanted to say that we've had, as Mr. Thomas knows and Celeste knows, and we've discussed already, that the African American Culture and Heritage Center event was amazing, and we couldn't have had any more publicity than we actually had. Like Mr. Thomas said, with his help as well, we had LPB there, we had news organizations from all over, we had articles in Town Talk, we had KLB, we had a full page front cover article in the Focus, and we're having this thing he told you about on March 29th at 8:30 on LPB and March 30th at 5:30 on LPB, and then online at LPB as well. And we're going to put that out. We'll share that on our social media as well. But it was a great event, and I was so happy to see so many people come out, and all our hard work was for a good cause. National Library Card, National Library Week, not card. National Library Week is coming up in April, and we're gonna do a bunch of fun stuff around here. Our theme is going to be about connecting in today's online world. Libraries are where people connect, and they can connect with each other, they connect with books, they can learn new skills. There's so many things, so we're gonna do a lot of fun things, and we're gonna talk about connections to the library. So we're gonna do some videos, and I am looking for board volunteers of anybody who would like to go on video for me and talk about the library and their connection to the library, whatever that story may be, from their youth, why you're on the board now, whatever, but that week we're gonna focus on people's connection to the library and how the library connects our community.
What are those dates, please?
That is April 7th through the 13th, but anytime between now and then, I can take a little video of you with my phone. We're just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna edit it on my computer, but I can, anytime you are available and wanna talk to me, I can track you down, and we can make that happen if y'all would like to do that. I would love to see y'all's face on our social media. So,
I think I see 8 enthusiastic volunteers.
I do. They're jumping out of their seats. They're like, yeah. I mean, I can stay right after. I'm just saying. But no, we'll be doing staff, and probably we'll highlight some of our back of the house staff who people don't see all the time, who make things happen other than the people just in the branch. Hopefully some patrons that will agree will do the same thing. So I think that'll be great in April to focus on a lot of that. As Celeste had also mentioned, we had the new juvenile cards come out. As she said, we just kind of started March 1, just putting them out and getting everybody used to it, but we are about to send out a press release, and April 1, we will begin promoting that on our website and on social media, and we hope in the next 2 months to kind of continue to spur people to get those new cards before summer reading. And we're gonna kind of pack those together as a group thing. Hey, summer reading's coming up. Let's get that new card. So, and then we're just gearing up for summer reading. So we have a lot of our social media, our Facebook, radio, we're everywhere right now. So if you want to know anything about the library, it's really easy to get access to it. So if do y'all have any questions, anything coming up, anything y'all like to see us do in PR? No? Okay, that's all for me.
Thank you, Ms. Buller.
Thank you.
Moving on, the next item is old business. We need to look at our revised budget. Ms. Huber.
This was the budget that was presented in December for revision based on some small adjustments, such as the carryover on the phone upgrades that did not get to happen in 2023, the reinstatement of our Creative Con budget, and some additional funds for the building maintenance.
Sorry.
And just as an aside, we still have not heard anything about vehicles from...
I have pulled up everything from the city and the state, and everything that they have listed is expired in October of last year. There are no new bids. At this time, we are in a wait-and-see pattern until they make some decisions.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Morgan.
That's okay. When you say carryover, does that mean that it was approved
It was
prior?
approved in 2023 the money was, the expense was to be there. We just have other things that had to be done before we could do. For the phone upgrade, we had to make some adjustments on our security lines, on what was being used on those phone lines, and we had to untangle how many actual phone lines we were paying for, where they were all located, whether they were necessary. So as that project got entangled, The purchase of the new phone system has not happened yet. So that money is already approved, we just haven't used it yet.
Okay. And I haven't been on the board super long, so I'm wondering what do the phones, what improvements need to be made on the phones? What would you like them to do that they don't need to do now?
Well, our phone system currently runs kind of hybrid to do the internal, and that is running on a computer that is still stuck in XP, I believe, Windows XP.
It's been a while since I've heard that.
We can, I know, and this particular system cannot run on the newer softwares. So it's literally sitting there running on that.
Has it caused any issues?
Every
with
once in a while,
communications?
yes. We have phone lines go down, the system shuts down. The
We'll
phones
have
quit.
mystery rings and, yeah.
Okay.
It's infrequent.
Yeah, and if the
but
power
often
goes
enough
out,
that it's
it
causing
doesn't
issues.
completely reboot, and so we get constant rings across everybody.
Okay.
So even if somebody calls in for West Side, everybody's gonna get the phones ringing.
Okay, I guess my only other question would be the cost. Have we gotten other quotes on that, or
We
like?
have.
So
I've
I
got,
guess I'm just trying to understand what costs $37,000. Like, what are they gonna do?
most of the softwares available now for phone systems is VoIP systems, which is the voice
Over the internet.
over the internet. So it would be a software install, it would require new phone stations, and the connecting wires into the computer's network.
It's basically a requirement of, I'm sorry to cut ahead, but
No.
of both hardware and software upgrades.
Okay.
It's not just one or the other, it's actually both, so that makes it more costly.
And literally, the specific software that we have right now that's running our phones, the current company has said there are no more phones available for replacement. They can't do any more repairs on the software. If it dies, it dies. We're out. And we've gotten quotes from them, who is our current provider. We got quotes from AT&T, and we got quotes from Kinetic. And the average ranged from 34 to 38, all the way around. And that depends on which system we chose and how much each phone pieces cost.
So the cheapest thing they can do of any option would be 34.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we were trying to pull out all the security lines so that we can reduce the number of lines that we move into this system. The less lines we move, a little less cost on the actual software itself.
Are there any other questions? Discussion?
What is Creative Con?
Creative Con is an outreach program, and I'm going to let Carla tell you all about it. It is one of my favorites for the year.
Creative Con is like our geekiest thing of the year. We love it. It's modeled after like a Comic-Con, but a very obviously scaled down version. So Creative Con has a lot of things that have to do with video games, sci-fi, comic book, all those worlds kind of colliding. People come in cosplay, they come in their costumes, we'll have contests, we'll have different presenters presenting workshops on those different things. We always have, Dan Forrest comes in, he'll do things on how doing like hair and makeup for TV sets and how to get into the world of television. We will have activities and games for kids. It's a whole family event and it's an all-day thing. We'll have panel discussions, but it's very scaled down like a Comic-Con, like all things geeky come together on that day here at the library. And it's fun.
And I have another question I thought of, if that's okay, Ms. Jordan. I listened back to the meeting from last time, and I was having trouble understanding what you were saying about the combination of accounts that required a
Okay,
bigger
so,
budget on teen programs.
our teen programs, we actually had two separate accounts. One was teen programs and one was teen SRP. But the SRP and the teen, it kind of just went hand in hand with each other. So we saw no reason to keep two separate accounts doing the same job. So we just combined the two accounts.
Okay, so on the budget that we passed in December, there were two accounts, and this one just combines those two accounts? Okay.
What item number?
The correct account is going to be 4277.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the revised 2024 budget, if it is your pleasure.
I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the 2024 revised budget. Are you ready for the question? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you again.
Thank you.
New business. We're going to hear recommendations from the Finance and Personnel Committees which met this afternoon. I am going to let Ms. Brown and Mr. Morgan and Ms. Arrington and Ms. Dubrock all contribute so that we understand what this next item is.
Okay, I'll start off. We have come to ask the board for approval for a 1% increase to our overall staff. And this 1% represents part of a cost of living adjustment. It is currently at 3.5, and our salaries are 3%. So we're just trying to come up and be competitive with the current COLA percentage, which we're going to do 1%, which will, it's more feasible than just doing 0.5% for where we are right now. Now, we have not had an increase over the past 5 years, so we figured that with the economy the way that it is, it would be something good for our staff, motivation for to remain competitive out there in the market, for hiring good people. We're trying to do, but anyways, I think that will be a step in the right direction for our employees.
And from a financial standpoint, we are asking just for the use of our overage in the salaries. It's already a budgeted item. We are not asking for any more budget because we have a little bit of funds available to do this increase with.
And we already have a 3% budgeted. This is just an extra 1% that we're adding on.
And just for clarification, employees are entitled to a 3% salary increase if they have an acceptable review during the year. So this 1% is going to be given to everyone starting in April.
Yes.
And
And everybody will maintain their 3% when it
as
becomes
their
available.
reviews come up.
And I'm sorry, I'd like to make a small
and-
clarification.
And this is for 1 year. This will be reviewed again in the next 2025. Yes,
I'm
ma'am?
so sorry. Small clarification. It is just the standard 3%
Yes.
across the board. It's not pending a certain review level at this time. We don't have the review levels that dictate what your percentage increase is. It's simply, that is the across the board cost of living increase.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant was that.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not
I just want to
that,
make sure everyone's.
not that if you threw books on the floor, you only
Right.
got a 1%.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
And also
Okay.
the clarification of the 3% is based on the available funds and approved by the
Right.
board each year.
As part of the salary structure in the budget.
And Ms. Dubrock, how much money will this be?
The total cost for this 1% increase totaled $36,581.
And that's for the whole year.
That's for the whole year for the whole staff, just to get a 1% increase.
And those funds would be coming, we had made adjustments in our salaries in anticipation of having some positions filled that we have not had filled yet in this first quarter. And those funds have actually already been made, I guess you would say. We already have that availability because they were not utilized in the first quarter.
I do believe in the committee meetings, it was mentioned that this would be a morale booster for staff. Ms. Arrington, do you have a recommendation from the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee met and Ms. Dubrock presented the information for the cost of living increase of 1% for the staff, and we support that recommendation.
Mr. Morgan, do you have a recommendation from the Personnel Committee?
Yes, ma'am. The Personnel Committee recommends that we approve that percentage. Things we discussed in the meeting or things they've said here today, I think it's worth noting that the money is already there. Not only is it there, but it's there in the salary portion of the budget, so it doesn't have to come from somewhere
Anywhere
else. So, we were presented with information, we unanimously voted to recommend the increase.
Are there any questions? Any discussion? The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the board recommends the 1% cost of living adjustment for library staff. Are you ready for the vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for your support for the staff and your hard work and being able to acknowledge all that folks do. We are at item 15 on our agenda. The next meeting will be May 21st, 2024, here at Westside. If there is nothing else, the chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I so move.
I second.
Are you ready for the vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, board members, for your time. We did this in an hour. We did